I met Hulk Hogan. It was in a local nightclub that all the wrestlers visited after we had our Tuesday night matches in Tampa. We'd go to the Imperial Club, still embedded in my mind, the name of the place, and after the matches in Tampa, and then and one night in walks Hulk Hogan, the future Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, and a guy that's 6'6" or 7 or whatever he was, and with this huge head, and he comes up to me and he says, "Superstar Billy Graham," he said, "I want to ask you 2 questions. I want to ask you two questions." I said, "Who are you, brother?" Because I didn't mind. I knew he was going to be a wrestler, or it was going to be something to do with wrestling. I said, "Who are you, brother? What are you doing?" He said, my name, what, I don't even know what his wrestling wanted to be named was, because he hadn't wrestled yet. Maybe he told me his name was Terry Bollea. He said, "I'm local. I want to be a wrestler. They won't let me in. They won't give me a tryout," he said. "For some reason, they won't give me a tryout." He said, "I want to ask you 2 questions in this nightclub." I said, "Well, sit down, brother. Sit down. Ask me the questions." He's very polite, very nice. He said, "I want to know 2 things. How do I become a professional wrestler, and how do I take steroids?" I said, "Well, taking steroids is easy. You just take a shot every day, all day. take steroids every day, all day." And I was kind of laughing as I was saying it as a joke. And he said, "Well, I've been doing that for the last year. I've been giving myself a shot of testosterone almost every day on my," I believe he said, "my right hip." And he said, "For the last year," and he said, "I've built up so much scar tissue that I have scar tissue about the size of a golf ball on my hip." I said, "Well, brother, just change hips, go to the other hip." I said, "Switch sides for a while, and then go to your thigh, and then go to your other thigh, and then go to your shoulder, and then go to your other deltoid, and move it around." I said, "But just take a lot of steroids, you know." And I said, eventually, I said, "The way you look, as big as you are," and I had seen him sitting about 7 rows back in the Tampa Armory with that big, giant head, a full head above everybody else's head, just absolutely laser beamed onto the ring, watching the matches and watching me, and I'd seen him maybe 6 weeks worth every Tuesday night. And so finally, when we did meet, I knew he really wanted it bad. I said, "They will let you in." I said, "They're messing with you." And the Florida territory was famous for messing with guys, and for there was a Japanese wrestler there, Hiro Matsuda maybe was the name, possibly, that was a very good amateur wrestler, and before they allowed you to become a professional wrestler, if you weren't someone like myself with already an established reputation, they would take you down to the Tampa, their little sportatorium deal there, and put you in the ring and seriously do some damage to you amateur-wise, and see if you wanted to still become a professional wrestler. And he said, "They won't even," I said, "Brother, they're going to maybe take you down there and try to do some damage to you." He said, "I don't care what they want to do to me. I want to be a pro wrestler." I said, "Well, you will be. I can see it. You're huge. You're big. You got it in you. Just keep on trying. Don't give up." That's the only advice I gave him. I said, "Keep on trying and don't give up." And so, sure enough, obviously, he became Hulk Hogan.
So he had already been taking steroids before he ever got into pro.
Oh, he told me he'd been taking steroids for 1 full year at the time I met him. And I had been taking steroids for 5 years before I started wrestling in mid-60s. So there was nothing wrong with that. The people that have died from complications of steroid use and other drug use in pro wrestling is almost beyond belief. It's almost beyond belief. So many drug-related deaths in pro wrestling. for it to have ended up like this. It's tragic.
There was a famous interview on the Arsenio Hall show with Hulk Hogan, who has since admitted to being a steroid user. At the time, he had said that he did not take steroids other than for medical purposes, and that you were a steroid abuser, and you had been a star in the 1970s. Now we've seen that Hulk Hogan has had many back operations, and I believe he's had quite a few surgeries. He's admitted to steroids and cocaine use in his book. How did you feel at the time that he was saying that stuff on TV about you lying when you knew it was true?
Yes, I recall that vividly, and I found it so strange that he would actually go on a national televised show and say that he had never used steroids, only for medical reasons, and I think that was 2 or 3 times he said that those were medical reasons, and that when I had just said earlier in this very interview that we're doing, that when I first met him in 1975, 76 time frame, that he told me he had been taking steroids, injecting himself with steroids for a full year before he met me. You know, and he said that to my face. And then to get into his career, his extremely successful career, and then to go on to a national televised show like that and deny that he had ever taken steroids was almost so, it was so ridiculous that it was laughable. It was like, are you kidding me? How can you actually say that with a straight face, you know, and then especially sitting there with a massive physique, you know, that you couldn't build without the assistance of steroids, period. And then to put all the heat on me that I was really the steroid user and abuser. Yes, I was. I did use steroids. I did abuse steroids, but also Hulk had used them a full year before he even started wrestling, and had told me this. So I found that how could he commit to such a vicious lie on national television for the sake of preserving his image, and you know, I didn't get it. It was really it really set me back. It really did. He was an iconic figure still. This was an iconic figure, and ironically, that's what the judge said at the Dr. George Zahorian trial in Harrisburg about omitting Hulk Hogan from testifying. The judge actually said to the jury and the people in the courtroom that he had excused Hulk Hogan from testifying in this trial because he is such an iconic figure to young people that him testifying, this is a quote from the judge, that him testifying would do more damage than it would good, because he has such an impact on young people in this country. And that's why the judge released him from having to testify in that trial.
Do you think that some of his injuries could have been prevented had not taken steroids?
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I do know without a shadow of a doubt that abuse of steroids causes tremendous bone joint complications, and now that he has admitted, I guess in his book, that he had used steroids, and there's no question that I believe his surgeries, all of his operations are linked to steroid use, There's just too many operations. You know, I mean, like I said, I don't know because I haven't seen his medical records, and it's just my speculation, but I would have to say yes. It's definitely related to steroid use.